Hey Anthony, what's up?
Hey Derek. Um, you know, had a had a day. I woke up and it was daytime, and I went through and it's nighttime now.
Yeah.
No, I went to church.
Next week.
Yeah, I'll see you. I went to church today. It's a new thing I'm trying to do. Um, and due to circumstances, and saw a friend of mine I haven't seen in almost a year. Good to see that guy again. Hopefully, we can meet up sooner than a year,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
ideally. Uh, and yeah, I mean, that was mostly it. Did some laundry and had breakfast with my mother. It's pretty nice. What's up
Nice.
with you?
Um, I have not done much today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not much productive. Um, I just got done eating oatmeal right before this call.
Nice.
Pretty good. My mom made it. It's
Nice.
tasty. Um, I don't know. I watch sports. Go
Yeah.
sports.
Go sports.
Yeah. Go cards. Go
Do, do,
cards.
do the thing with the ball and such.
Mm-hmm. They
Yeah.
won. They beat our hated rivals, Kentucky.
Mm, great.
L's up, baby, and thumbs down.
This has been Derek's highly mature critique of the game.
The other team, stinky.
And we'll be right back after these messages.
No, I've just been watching a lot of sports. Uh,
Nice.
yeah. Uh, I sat down to actually write earlier. Yes. Oh, oh, oh. I sat down to actually write earlier, and
Okay.
yeah,
It's very confused. Go on.
and then I got distracted.
Yeah. That's that's usually what happens when creativity strikes.
Yeah, silly of me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you ready? I'm curious. What type of church you going to? Just out of curiosity, what religion?
Uh, it is a Christian church. I couldn't say what. I know there's like different types of Christianity, I guess. I don't know anything about that stuff. So I couldn't tell you what it is, or what type it is, but it to me it seems, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like like um can I just have coffee? Can you just give me coffee, please? I don't know what the fancy stuff is. If you have that guy, you're just like, I just want the coffee in my hand. And so that's how it feels. I'm like, I'm just trying to go to church and experience whatever.
Oh, I see. I know what you're saying now.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, I'm just trying to, I don't know what this
I
is. I just want experience.
I thought you were asking for coffee at church. And I was like, what? I've never. And like, is that like the blood of Christ? Is that what they're doing? Is it like coffee? Did they run out of wine?
so,
So confused. I had no clue.
that's the wine. And fucking like a coffee cake is the bread.
They're like, how do you take it? Uh, one cream, one sugar. All right.
Yeah, sure.
They like put it in there, do the little stirring stick. Give it to you, dump it, get a new one for the next person.
Yeah, just right in the middle of the service. There's not a coffee in my hand yet, so I'm gonna need y'all to solve that for me. Jesus, help me out, bro.
I don't know if anyone saw my "Don't talk to me until I've had my cup of coffee in the morning." That That
Yeah.
applies to you, big man in the sky, okay?
Hello, I'm the worst. If you didn't notice. Uh, that's really funny. No, yeah, I don't.
Our fathers until I get that hit of caffeine straight to my veins, all right?
Oh God, coffee is my god. It's the coffee god. That's who he is. Uh, yeah, yeah. I definitely don't know what type of church and or type of Christianity it is. It seems like the regular one, you know. Um, but yeah, it's fine. It's a black church. Um, and my barber had told me that it's like, oh yeah, my uncle is a preacher. I said, what? That's what a small world. Um, but yeah, it's just a new thing that I'm trying out.
Yeah, when I remember I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
Um I mean Louisville's an extremely Catholic city.
Hmm.
So most people here are Catholic. Um I never ever understood the difference between Catholic and Christian.
Hmm.
Never got it. To this day I don't know. It's like they're basically the same to me. It doesn't there is no difference.
Right.
Someone says they're Catholic, says they're Christian. I'm like, sure.
Sure. Sure. Um, yeah, I definitely don't know the differences. I kind of grew up with some Christian things due to like just like family members. I think it was specifically like my grandmother. When I would stay with her, she'd just bring us to church. Um, so it is something I kind of grew up with, though I strayed away from it just because I don't really feel like anyone ever really placed a lot of emphasis or value on why something like that can be important, you know? And I guess just with the things going on with myself recently, it's something I decided to try and see where this takes me. Maybe it takes me nowhere. Maybe I get what I want out of it, and just the sense of like the experience.
Yeah.
Um, or I don't know. I'm just trying something new. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I like my whole family's Catholic.
Yeah.
Like everyone on my mom's side. Um, and then my dad's side is smaller than my mom's side.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, like it was all around me. Plus, everyone you know in Louisville is Catholic. Like everyone. I mean, it's different now because I think, as time passes, people get less and less, or people have gotten less and less religious over time. So growing up,
Yeah, it's true.
I was like 10, 15 years ago.
Mm.
But it's like everyone I knew was Catholic. I don't think so as much anymore. But
Yeah.
I remember getting in trouble a lot during church.
Oh yeah. Were you like a troublemaker?
Nope. It was just so boring.
It is. It was really boring. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's so boring. And
When I
like
was a kid.
as a child,
Yeah, as a kid, that stuff is rough.
especially, okay, so my parents went and had 4 children, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're if you're outnumbered, if you're doubled by your children, of course they're gonna try to mess around with each other and make time go by.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, this stuff is interesting. I don't know a word you're saying, so
I
it's
mean,
kind of
yeah,
fun.
I'm in third grade. I literally speaking don't know half the words you're saying.
Yeah.
Vocabulary is not that big yet,
Yeah.
but yeah. So we would often get yelled at
Oh,
for
nice.
misbehaving in church. I remember one time. This one I think really sticks out to me.
Mm,
uh, they're doing the communion, the blood of Christ and everything, and I remember I started laughing.
mm.
I leaned over to my younger sister, and I was like, "What if someone said, 'and the blood of Christ'?" And the guy was like, "Don't mind if I do," and just down the whole cup. And then we started dying laughing. And my dad was like, stop it right now.
Yeah. I I love the quiet shut up. Okay, quite shut up.
Like,
Shit.
like I'm a dog. Like, psst,
Yeah. Okay. Love that shit. So
sit down.
funny.
No.
We never asked him to get out of here. We're not getting McDonald's after. No, I can understand that. I didn't get in trouble in church. I just my grandmother would I'd always be able to bring like some toys, like a toy or two, or I would have my Game Boy and be playing on that sometimes. And like, oh yeah, this was way helpful because it was always just such a chore. Um, and it's also reinforcing my point of like don't really emphasize value, and I think that's part of why there's a Sunday school for kids and stuff like that. And that wasn't my experience, so it's not like any of it was ever brought to my level.
As someone who had to go to that,
Yeah,
it's not fun.
not fun. It's still not fun.
Let me tell you,
uh,
because here's the thing:
okay.
a lot of people are stupid. They may be well intentioned, but they're dumb. A lot of my like teachers for Sunday school,
Mm,
not smart people.
no.
Like there was one person who one of my teachers was like, if you hear the name Jesus, you will go to heaven. And I was like 8. So I was like, yeah, sounds good. Sounds right. It checks out. Makes sense in my brain. And so that's what I believed, right?
If you just hear the name,
Yeah. That's
so I she literally just said it. Okay, cool.
that's what I thought. Because
Okay.
I was 8 or something.
Uh,
She was the teacher.
yeah.
Like she knows what she's talking about.
Mm,
Teachers are smart people. They're geniuses. Why do you think they're teachers?
clearly.
Yeah. And so I remember we had, it was like one of our dogs was dying. And, we're all sad about it, upset. We obviously don't want your dog to die. I
Yeah.
remember I went up to him and I whispered in his ear. I was like, Jesus. It was like, I did it. I saved his soul.
I helped my boy out.
Hey, Bruno.
Woof. Yes. And he's a ghost right next to you, like this bitch, this motherfucker.
He's like, that jerk off.
Did he just howl at me? What is that species? What is that? I don't know what that is.
I speak English. Like,
I was talking the whole time. Did he not listen to me?
yeah. So like that, I had it was that teacher mostly that I was like the probably the biggest idiot.
Yeah.
And there were some people that were smart that just I mean they were all I think well intentioned, but
Right.
God that one was dumb. And so yeah, I don't know. Sunday school did not help for me. Also, uh, the more it went on, the more I was like one day, like sitting in church, I remember looking around, like at like everyone like saying the same prayer, and then I was just looking around and like it for the first time kind of hit me. I was probably like 11 at that point, at
Yeah.
10 or 11, and I was like, this is like so kind of creepy. Like if you look at it from like an outsider's perspective, I was like, this is extremely creepy in a sense.
That like all these people are gathering.
Saying it's that they were saying the same thing at the same time. That's what was
Oh, that part of it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
that part. I was like, oh, this is. But I was still that was like my first thought of that. So I was like, good thing it's not.
As you stare blankly.
In excelsis Deo.
Yeah.
So I think what really like did it for me was I remember one time we were curious kids. We would ask a lot of questions at dinner, and then we just have conversations about whatever questions we asked. And my parents, I remember one time I was like, "Why do we celebrate Easter?" I was like, "What's the point of it?" And my mom was like, "Well, Jesus went 40 days and 40 nights in the desert without, or was it, is that, oh, Lent. I was asking about Lent. That's what it is,
Okay,
which is the build up to Easter.
right.
Um, is there Lent in Christianity? I really don't know.
Again, I don't know. I'm seriously at the. I'm at zero. I'm at zero.
So I will give a brief explanation of what Lent is. Lent is from Ash Wednesday,
Mhm.
which is sometime in like February, March, until Easter. You give up one thing that you like love for those 40-ish days.
Right.
And the purpose of this is because Jesus, at some point in time, I don't know why, walked through a desert for 40 days and 40 nights. It didn't have any food or water.
Hmm.
That's the story. And my mom, when I asked, I was like, what do we do with Lent? Because, like, as a child, Lent sucks
Well, yeah, I would imagine.
so much because you can't, um, you got to give something up, whether it be the smart thing to do is like give up something that you like but
Mhm.
don't love, you know?
Yeah.
Because then you're like, because if you pick something dumb, like I'm arrived, of course I was an idiot. And I picked like, oh, I give up homework. My parents were like, ha ha, what do you give up?
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know, you want to give up something like that they've seen you do before.
Mhm.
And so they're like, okay, that's a good one. But not like, you're not gonna be like, I give up video games. Cause like by day 3, as a child, you're like,
Already for great. Yeah, you got the addiction, Coke, Scratch, fucking. Yeah, I need my shit.
oh, it's just I left like 2 Pokemon in the daycare, and I want to check up on them. That's all.
That's all it is. I swear.
That's all. I'm not. I just want to hold the Game Boy. That's all I want to do.
I just want to hear the little bling when I turn it on. That's all I want to hear.
I'm
Come
not.
on, just let me have this.
So, yeah. So Lint sucked as a kid, and I asked her, I was like, "Why do we do this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's because Jesus went 40 days and 40 nights without food or water." And I remember I just learned in school
Mhm.
the longest a human can go without water is 3 days.
Mhm.
I told her that. I was like, humans can only go 3 days without water. I was like, I just learned that. She goes, well, he had a little water. And then as soon as she said that, I was like, I don't think this stuff is real. I
Yeah.
just making it up on the spot.
I mean, I feel like she would have been better off just saying, "Oh, he's the son of God."
Yeah.
That would have been, yeah, that would have been enough. He's like, yeah, he's like Jesus. You know, he'll be fine.
He heals cheetahs or,
He can do it. He can do anything. That's kind of the point. Um,
so, uh, yeah. When that happened, I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay, I'm out on this.
There's so there's a show that was created by Aaron McGruder, who created the Boondocks, and he created a show.
Black Jesus.
Yeah, Black Jesus. Yeah,
That show is very.
and it's very funny. It's a very funny show. And there was this channel I like who likes to use the Boondocks as an example to talk about like certain Black topics, things like that, and such. He used Black Jesus for one of these videos, and he was kind of talking about the show in the sense of like what it seems like what he's trying to do is like what if like Jesus was like quite literally in your life, and how do you respond to that if he's like literally sitting right next to you, you know, because you know you can invite him into your house and help him do all these things and whatnot, and like he doesn't have to help you do anything because he's Jesus. And also you don't really have to help him do anything because he'll be fine. He's Jesus, you know, he has these miraculous powers and whatnot. And I was like, oh, that's a really interesting way to kind of look at that. Like, if he was literally here, how would you still be the way that you are, and would you still uh, do things for Jesus or all those kinds of things? And I was like, that's a very interesting way, and it's kind of cool, but also kind of makes it even more funny when like watching the show. And I just kind of enjoyed that. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think genuinely, I think if Jesus came back, or like
Mhm.
we're just like kind of always around,
Mhm.
um, that people at first would be like, "Oh, it's Jesus, it's Jesus. Like whatever you want, I'll do whatever you want. Like what do you need?" And then you do whatever. He'd be like, "Oh no, no, you do enough. Just be a good citizen or whatever."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, buy Coca Cola. That's what he would say.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Coke could be like, yes, we're sponsoring Jesus. We did it.
No, does that take away from my sponsorship? But I think after a while, people would get familiar with his face and then be like, whatever, who cares? It's Jesus.
or, or
Like,
you wouldn't even believe it anyway, even standing right in front of you, that kind of thing.
well, I just think no, it's not even that. I think it's just people will be like, it's like when you get used to someone, slowly you like treat them with less and less respect. Not always out of a sense of um, I can get away with it. It's sometimes it's like when people have been friends forever, they start like
Yeah.
insulting each other constantly.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's like it's not a good friendship, but also people do it with like bosses and stuff.
Mhm.
So they've like worked for someone for so long, their boss will tell them something, and they're like, "No, that's dumb. I'm not going to do that."
Oh yeah, when you're just like so over your job, you just don't even care anymore. You're just like, yeah, whatever.
Sort of, but I think it'd just be something like Jesus would stand in line for Starbucks. Like I think at first, if Jesus came back when people were first introduced the idea of it, everyone would be like, "Oh no, no, okay, get to the front of the line. You order first."
Right.
By the end of it, someone would like he'd be waiting in line, and someone would just like skip him.
Mm.
What are you doing? And they're like, "Well, I'm late for work, so maybe cool it."
Maybe cool. Yeah, I mean, I could see something like that happen, which is really unfortunate, you know. But again, that's why I like that show so much because it is kind of like that kind of commentary, and like you could see people still acting the same way,
Yeah,
and people like, whatever Jesus, like
yeah, that's what would happen.
yeah, and it's just like he's Jesus, but like the thing he's like I know there was somebody's like I love you, but fuck you or something like that. I think he's the nice in the show. He's like I always say that part, but also you're being whatever.
Yeah,
It's Jesus. Yeah, it's a great show if you haven't seen it. Two
my
people.
my parents have watched it before. They enjoyed it.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good one.
Did
And
Did you
well,
know that the guy who plays Jesus is in GTA 5?
no, that's
Yeah, he plays Lamar.
oh, it's one of the main three, right?
I don't
Is it
I don't
not?
he's the friend of Franklin, who's one of the main three.
Oh, okay, gotcha,
Lamar's the one that's always doing like stupid stuff to try and get a quick buck,
gotcha.
and like Franklin's having to save him.
Right,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I love that. I definitely want to say too is that I don't think I could ever, no matter how far I go with this, even if it is kind of all the way in a sense, you know, of like fully believing and all that kind of stuff, is that I don't think I could ever call myself a Christian. I really like Stoicism and Taoism, but I don't call myself a Stoic. I don't call myself a Taoist. And those are philosophies, of course, and it's not religion. However, I just don't. I don't necessarily like labels like that, and so I don't never describe myself as like a religious person, but just someone who would just be practicing these things, you know, for like the more spiritual purpose, I guess. Is how I personally would view it. You know. Um,
Yeah.
are you do you believe in anything? Are you an atheist? Like what's your deal? I don't think I've ever asked you this question before. So
It's the old Norm Macdonald bit. where Norm Macdonald has a joke where he was like, "I'm religious because it's better than nothing." He's like,
Mhm.
you talk to an atheist, they're like, "What do you think happens when they die?" They're like, "Oh, they throw you in the box and the dirt, and you're covered in dirt, and then they decompose, and then the worms crawl in your body." He's like, "Oh, okay. Hey, what do you think happens?" He's like, "Oh, you go and live in the clouds." He's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, you live with everyone you've ever loved, and you're happy all the time. Nothing's bad." He's like, "Ah, that sounds pretty good." Like, what did you say happens? He's like, the dirt, and then the worms, and then you become nothing. It's like, okay, what were you saying? He's like, you get to play the harp. He's like, harp? I always wanted to play the harp. He's like, a little lesson, man. Don't lead with the dirt. But yeah, dirt. That's my belief. Whatever burial uh ceremony you choose. I think I don't know. I don't think anything happens. Like I think there would be proof at this point. Uh,
You think
most
so?
Yeah, it's like Ricky Gervais one time said, uh, if you could magically burn all of the textbooks and like statistical findings in the world, just like destroy them in 1,000, 10,000, whatever it is, however many long years, they would come back the same because you would find the same things through the same studies. If you burned all of the religious texts, they would either not come back or they would just be completely different. Now that's a hypothetical thing,
Right.
obviously, but I think he's right because like Mormonism, that's a religion. That guy
Right.
just made that up. I don't know how much you know about Mormonism.
Oh, nothing. All I know is like the multiple wives thing. It's pretty much it.
Yeah, Mormonism is incredibly stupid. So shout out to Morgan and Taylor.
Yeah, right.
Um, no, it's like it's some guy Joseph Smith. Uh, in I don't know if he was in Utah yet or they just moved to Utah afterwards, but he was in America. He created it in America, and he just like went out in the woods and wrote a bunch of stuff, and then was like, "Oh, look, I found this religious text," and everyone was like, "Wait, what? You found it?" He's like, "Yeah, I just found it here in America. It's crazy." Turns out Jesus was born here, and it's like all this like ridiculous stuff, and then everyone just like believed him because that's what she kind of did at the times. And then this one woman was like, "I don't believe any of that. Like, uh, like what if I destroyed all the text? Like that." I think his what he said was that it like the information was presented to him and then he wrote it down. So it's not like actually like the Ten Commandments per se, where it's like a
Oh,
uh,
sure.
like an artifact. It's just like his notes. And she was
Yeah.
like, "What if I just destroyed them and then you told me what they were because you remember them, right?" He's like, "Yeah, I could do that," and she did. And he's like, Let me go back." So it goes back into the woods, comes back with a completely different thing written down, and it was like, "This is it. This is it." And she's like, "That's different." He's like, "No, it's not." And so that's Mormonism.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
We'll see.
so it's just I think that it's people trying to make sense of stuff that doesn't make sense to them.
Mhm.
It's people try because I think there's a lot of people that if religion were not in their lives, they would be freaking out a lot.
Sure.
I think a lot of people use religion to cope with things like death. They're like, if there's no religion, they just die and that's it. If there is religion, then like, oh, I just have to be a good person, and then I'm gonna go to the best place anyone could ever go to. That's awesome, right? And then it puts their mind at ease a little bit. And then, you know, in any group, you have like the best case and worst case scenarios. There are some people that use it to just justify what they're doing. Anything that they're doing, they just justify it through their religion.
Yeah, and that's the definitely the worst case.
Yeah.
Super awful at that point.
You know, and there are people that genuinely believe, but I think for a lot of people, it's just like sense of ease.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hmm. No, that's really interesting. Yeah, like I've never totally known where to stand because at worst I've always been agnostic, and sometimes I'd be more on the side of not believing, and sometimes I'll be on the other side of that. Uh, Sometimes I'm just directly like smack dab in the middle of it. I'm like I just don't know. Uh, so no, I totally get it, and even now I'm still not totally sure. And when getting back into this, there was a certain person who had like piqued my interest again in this kind of thing, and I was trying to kind of get into it um, because of them a little bit, but then they kind of went away, kind of just like out of my life a bit, and so I started to just do it for myself out of like curiosity, and I guess for how I've been feeling, and so I thought like maybe there's something to this, maybe it could be helpful. Um, However, yeah, I guess I'm not totally sure, and I'm just trying to see. However, what this does make me think of is a video I had seen with Andrew Tate, and he was talking about he's on a podcast and he was talking about God and how he used to be like an atheist and stuff, but then I believe he's Islamic,
I think he's Muslim. Muslim is
Muslim. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Muslim. Um, and I'm obviously gonna butcher the hell out of it. So obviously you need to find the actual clip, but hopefully you can get the essence of what I'm trying to say or what he was trying to say through me, I suppose. Which is just that, like, I don't think you should think of as God maybe as someone as some man in the sky, and something along the lines of, you know, uh, sometimes it's enough that like even if it's not God isn't real, God the idea um, is enough, for God to be real. Because if ideas are real, then um, that then makes God real just through ideas and enough people believing in it. And enough people believe in it and they do what is hopefully like, or ideally good and right things, then that would make God real. Now, obviously, you should go watch the clip and see how he explains it because it's obviously much better than what I'm saying. I just found it personally to be um, a very interesting way to put it, but it's never a way I had heard before, and I just I liked that, regardless of whether God's there or not.
yeah. I mean, I think there's interesting ideas in that. That
Yeah,
like the idea of God is there always. Like whether you know, it just takes people to believe in him.
right.
Interesting that he. I guess it's not really that interesting, but Andrew Tate saying something about right and wrong, like doing right and wrong through the belief of God. Um, because that he's a bad boy. Andrew Tate,
What makes him so bad?
human trafficking.
Yes, he doesn't do that.
He does.
He does not.
100% most certainly does.
Can you prove that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You want to do it right now?
I mean, we don't have enough time for you to do it right now, but
He
I,
absolutely.
well, okay, okay. So I'm just saying this from. I mean, it does not seem to be the case at all, or as I can tell. However, um, but there is the burden of truth, the burden of proof, and it's on the person who makes the claim. So, I mean, I don't know. It seems like a pretty decent guy to me from what I see.
I don't think he's a good guy.
Well, okay. What outside of human trafficking makes you think that?
There is a video of him beating a woman in
The
public.
belt?
What?
The belt?
I don't know if it's with a belt or not. I just know he was beating a woman in public.
Hmm. I have not seen this video.
Yeah, it's
For how he talks about women, it doesn't seem like he would do that.
really.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like what? How does he talk about women?
Talks about women saying that they're the most precious things on the earth and they should be protected, provided for.
Yeah, but he's also said stuff like I think Andrew Tate says a lot of like very reasonable stuff, and
Mhm.
then immediately follows it. I wouldn't say immediately. I don't watch him enough. Like I got a lot of Andrew Tate when he was like huge,
Yeah.
just 'cause it was inevitable, and then
So,
yeah, it was inevitable.
yeah.
He was like Thanos.
Yeah. Pretty much out of nowhere became huge.
Yeah, but no, he's also said stuff like if a woman is in a relationship and whether she's married or not, and she makes money off of like say OnlyFans, that money is a man is the man's money in the relationship. So
Like if well, no, she'd have to be in a relationship in that case.
what
Is what you're saying that he was saying? Like if he was in a relationship with this woman and she's on OnlyFans, then that's also his money. Is what you're saying?
he was saying that that is his money. That's not also his money. That is his money.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of down with that.
Really?
I am because you're my girl, and I don't want you showing yourself off like that. If you're going to, then I want some of the money. Otherwise,
Okay. What about vice versa? What if the roles are reversed? You're in a relationship. Um,
mm,
you start doing OnlyFans.
mm.
Is that your girlfriend's money now?
Yeah, because I view it as a single household. So as long as it's still bringing in money, then yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't do that ever. But for the point, yes.
I'm well aware you would. Yeah.
Yeah, for the point, yes, I would view it that way still. It doesn't
Well,
come from a sex thing. It just comes from, or a gender thing. It just comes from
I,
a,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah.
I don't personally agree with that.
No,
Yeah, it's like if you're not married, I think if you're just a boyfriend girlfriend, the finances are separate. You know, it does like even if you're living together, finances are separated. I think
sure.
so. Like if you're living together, you're just boyfriend and girlfriend. Your girlfriend in this scenario, let's just say that you're okay with it,
Mm,
uh, because that's like a completely other thing. But if she starts doing it, she's making money off of it. You're not making that money. She's making that money.
right.
If you are like making the stuff together, the content together, that's a different conversation. But if it's just her, I feel like it's her money.
Mm.
That's how I
No, I see what you're saying. I'd actually love to talk about this more on like the next podcast. That'd be a great topic.
believe.
I would love to do this. This is fun. All right. Until next time, since we have to go.
You have to go. I'll see you.
Okay, I'll see you. Goodbye, people.